The last time I jumped into Valorant was way back in 2020, and this was just off of the back end of me playing CSGO for a long time. So it's been many years. So in this video, we're going to go over what it's really like to return to Valorant after those years of not playing. So let's get straight to it. The first harsh reality I had to come to terms with when returning back to Valorant was that my aim was straight ass, like terrible. And that's just because not playing a game for so long, much like a language, when you don't speak a language for long enough, you tend to lose out on that language. And it's the same thing for Valorant. When you don't play enough of the game, a lot of what you've understood and applied before tends to dissipate. And so my aim was terrible. My game sense was there in terms of my positioning and my awareness, but the aim itself was not there. So I had to come to terms with that and just humble myself and realize, you know what, this is actually a good thing, because it's now reminded me of the importance and value of precision, but also it made me realize just how difficult it can be for a new player to come into this game and not understand the nuance and just the overall scope and difficulty of Valorant. So it made me really truly look at things in a different perspective and made the game feel fun and engaging, because now it put me back into that driver's seat of being a beginner and having to reapply old methods, but also at the same time looking at things from a newer perspective and thus making the experience more fulfilling. So that being said, let's move on to the next point. So the second harsh reality I had to really come to terms with was that Valorant is a game where your mental focus is extremely imperative. And that's because the game requires so much out of you compared to the likes of, say, Apex or even a Call of Duty, where you can have a lot more fun in the sense that the game allows for some degree of conversation. So you dive in, you're looting, and during that looting process, you can have a conversation with your homie on the mic, talk about your day, you know, whatever, up until that engagement. But in Valorant, there's nothing like that. Every decision matters. Every audible cue matters. Every shot matters. Every micro step matters. Like, there's so many things that are way more impactful in Valorant. And so your concentration has to be there. You can't autopilot in this game. And I had to learn that the hard way again, because when you play different shooters that are not tactical shooters, your brain starts to operate in that respective area of a shooter. Like I said, you know, you have more freedom to have a conversation. You're more likely to jump into autopilot and it works out for you because it's okay. There's less concentration and importance on, let's say, your accuracy, but more on your movement. All that is the opposite in Valorant. You literally have to be so locked in. Otherwise, you're going to be throwing for your team. You're going to grief your team and you're not going to have a lot of fun. Nor is your team. They're not going to like you. So that is another harsh reality I had to learn. Let me know in the comment section down below what your experience was as a new player in Valorant for the first time. But let's move on to the last and final point. The room for growth in Valorant is limitless. You can do so much in this game. There's a lot for you to learn and apply. And so the one thing I had to learn was that I can't bring old luggage with me into Valorant. It's like real life. When you are looking to travel to a new country to live, you can't bring the past with you. You can't bring your old luggage with you to a new place. You have to start anew, start fresh. So me coming into Valorant after many years, I had to start fresh. I had to leave the things that were of the past behind me. The Apex, the frag punks. Sure, there are some necessities you can bring with you. I can bring my game sense, I can bring my positioning, I can bring my awareness. Those things I can bring into Valorant because of the experience. But as far as the gameplay elements within Valorant, those are things I have to relearn. And so the room for growth is always going to be there. And that's the mindset that I feel more players should have, is committing to a growth mindset, not limiting yourself to negative talk, but really applying the necessary positive elements to ensure not only your satisfaction, but your teammates' satisfaction. Because ultimately, if you're coming into the game and you're complaining or you're projecting that negative energy to your teammates, now they're going to also feel that negativity and they're going to be upset and no one's going to have fun, and thus you lose the game. So I'm trying to avoid that. I really want to have as much fun as I can. And so I leave the past behind me. I bring a fresh new experience into Valorant for myself. And so far, it's been very fun. So far, because of that approach, I see the game as something that is completely like brand new, like a baby. You know, I'm just peeling off the layers slowly, one piece at a time. And I think that's what's helping me to understand the game better, and also allowing me to have a much more refreshing experience. So I hope this video has given you somewhat of an example of what it's like to be a new player, or at least a returning player after many years into Valorant. And so leave your experiences down below. If you're new to the game, leave your experiences. What has been your greatest challenge thus far? And for those who still play the game, what has been your greatest challenge to improve upon thus far? I'll see you folks next time. As always, you know what it is, new warriors. Stay strong, keep fighting, and may the force be with you all always. For more sci-fi content, sci-fi shooter variety content, be sure to keep it locked here. All right, take care. Peace.